everybody, and thanks for stopping by G4G on YouTube. Today we're taking a look at the closeout of the Marvel Snap season known as the Gwenpool season. And basically what I'm going to do here is a little bit of a two-part video. I'm going to record this part this morning, which is early Tuesday morning, and that is the closeout of the Gwenpool season. And then when the new season drops later today, I'm going to go ahead and splice in some footage of the new season and the new battle pass. So this will be a combined video. So let's go ahead and get into the first part. So the Gwenpool season is over. I'm ending here at about 53 on the season pass. It's been a while since I've done this good. Typically, I've been kind of clocking in right around the 50 mark, which is where you get the variant of the card for the season pass. But I made it about 3 deep into the season caches, which is pretty cool. It's been a while since I've been up here. I will admit most of it was actually done today. 2 play sessions that I had early Tuesday morning and late Monday night is what got me up here. In terms of rank, I am over in silver at rank 34. Again, most of that was done today. Made some pretty solid gains as I was about, I think, 27 or 28 before Monday started. So sort of did a little bit of a last minute burst, which was kind of similar to the old Marvel Avengers Alliance Day, where the season, I believe the PvP season tended to end on a Monday or maybe about halfway through Tuesday, I think it was. And then a lot of people, well, the big burst would always occur the weekend before the season would end, and you'd have to hope that your defenses could fight everything off. But yeah, most of what I was doing was kind of today. I was keeping up with the majority of the season, playing here and there, no particular big pushes. However, I'm really happy with the performance of a bunch of my decks this season, and we'll get into that in a moment. So, closing out the Battle Pass, we had, of course, the 500 gold here near the top at 49. We had the Gwenpool variant at 50. Of course, at the beginning of the season pass, we had the original Gwenpool card, which a lot of it's funny. I've been seeing some discussion on this one on Facebook that a lot of people were surprised she was actually riding a Vespa, a little bit like Fooly Cooley, Haruharugo, tooling around Fooly Cooley over there in a Vespa. I totally admit I was one of the people, and a bunch of other people on the Marvel Snap Facebook group that I'm in, and admin, was like, I thought that was a jackhammer. Admittedly, when I would see the thumbnails and everything, I kind of did the exact same thing. Seeing the card at this level, I thought she was like legs splayed out, sort of hammering a jackhammer. And to be honest, knowing that it's a Vespa, obviously it makes way more sense. But the sort of craziness of Gwenpool, I admittedly would see this card and I thought she was just jackhammering. And the way that the buffs to your deck would come out, see here, on reveal, pick a random card in your hand 3 times, give +2 power each time. When this buff would come out, it sort of looked like rocks, as if she was jackhammering concrete and rocks were spraying out. It's actually explosions in reference to the explosions behind her as she is motorcycling away or scootering away on the Vespa. So yeah, it makes way more sense that it's a Vespa, but admittedly, most of the season, I was fooled. Collection is doing pretty good right now. Starting to get some good variants, but my albums are they're doing okay. I don't particularly ever move to get a album notched up to a star unless I know purchasing one card gets me a star, which then, you know, gets me a gift. So if I saw, let's say, you know, baby Deadpool in the store, I might get it because I'm going to hit a star rank over there, which would be handsome pool or nice pool. If you've seen the movie here, they're calling it hot pool. Some of the albums, by the way, now have this thing where it's called bonus variants, where you may look and think that I only have 3 out of the 9 here, but I have bonus variants. Same thing for Wolverine. But I've noticed, at least on some of the web pages I look at, the ones that parse my collection, they never really show the bonus variants. They just show the primaries. So the Deadpool one, the Wolverine one, nothing going here in Retrofuturists or Chibis, Boss Babies. Looking at 3 over there. Now, see, my next pip is 3 cards away. So if one of these popped up over here, I probably wouldn't do it. But this is interesting that Baby Deadpool is doing hauling its weight in 2 different albums like that. Not a big hip fan, so some of my hip albums are not going to be doing particularly well. Really surprised I have nothing in the Kim Jacinto. Cosmic Companions is close to a ding. I hate most Pixels, and yet Pixel All-Stars is 4 out of 12 for me. Max Grecki is a little bit better. Midnight Suns is a little better. I wish I actually had some more Midnight Suns. A very interesting thing that I noticed in that the Hellfire Gala one, you see Sebastian Shaw back here represented as how he looks on his card, and yet it's not even part of the actual album. This one just trolls the hell out of me. That Sebastian Shaw is back here, and that's what his card looks like, yet yeah, he's not even part of his own album. No Sebastian Shaws are. This is the Sebastian Shaw that I've been using, which is the Hellfire Gala variant. And actually, you're going to see that Shaw has pulled quite a good deal of weight for me on one particular deck that I've used this season. So the decks that I've primarily used this season, the Move Yourself deck that you see over here was only made for a Move Season Pass item. New Discard is one that I've moved to just recently. I've used a little bit, but not tremendously so. It's one big thing there is obviously Hella, and Blink also does a little bit of work. If you can drop like a Sif or a Jubilee especially, and then follow it up with Blink and pull one of these guys for free, that works really, really well. Death is not there as a mistake for discard and destroy. So this is a discard deck, and she works off of destroys. She's there to hopefully get pulled in by Blink or be fodder for a discard. That's why she's there. So don't think that, oh, wait a minute, Napalm, what the hell are you doing? You have a death card and a discard deck. That's a mistake. It's actually on purpose. Believe it or not, a surprising hit this season with the amount of dailies and season pass items where we have to play 1 card drops. This Agent Weenie deck has actually hauled a pretty decent amount of ass for me, except for one component. Bast is usually showing up when I have a lot of cards that don't gain from her, or it, being a god. A lot of times I'm getting Bast after my Snow Guard cards come out, and you know, you don't want to Bast the bear as you're actually going to bring it down. Basting the Hawk is okay, as that's an even push, but ideally I pull Bast at the beginning of the match and can hit my Ham, Iceman, Snow Guard herself, Yondu, Goose, even Scorpion. And I mean, so much of my deck is good Bast fodder, yet I've had a really, really bad amount of luck. You don't want to Bast your Green Goblin unless you were running a 0, or when you run into the location that says on reveal effects happen twice. If you play Green Goblin there, your Green Goblin actually comes back. So if you happen to have a match where that happens and you Bast your Green Goblin, He goes over as a 3 and then he comes back as a 3. So that's interesting. Basically, what Agent Weenie does is a little bit of trolling with Spider-Ham, Iceman, Yondu. That's some early control. Goose shuts down a lane for big cards. U.S. Agent also attacks a lane for big cards. And then Jean Grey is a little bit of a troll. A lot of times what I like to do is drop U.S. Agent and then Jean Grey, that area, because none of my cards are going to be affected by my U.S. Agent. But this has occasionally won some games, pulling big cards from the enemy deck over to U.S. Agent and then getting it decreased. Jean Grey into Goose is not good because it says players must play their first card each turn if possible. Goose locks the lane out. So, if they had a 5-cost card in their hand and you Jean Greyed the Goose, you can't play that 5-cost in the Goose Lane, so you would negate Jean Grey's power and then would have to be played elsewhere. That is where perhaps something like you can also set it up as Jean into Goose. Well, actually, never mind. Jean Grey U.S. Agent is the best way to go. Sierra protects my 1 and 6 cost cards from being destroyed, which is my 1 cost. And Black Swan is really, really handy if I have a lot of 1 cost cards left in my hand, and she can pull them out for 0. So a Weenie deck is a Magic the Gathering term. It just has to do with a lot of low-cost cards. Usually in Magic, it's low-cost cards that might have haste, usually come out of the red color, goblins, etc. Green Goblin just attempts to win a lane by throwing a negative card over there. And I'm really, really surprised this deck wins the way that it does, because there's not a lot of power in it, but there is some interesting and smart plays in it. The biggest deck that I was running this season that pulled the most amount of weight was my Gilgo's Dildos deck. It is a Gilgamesh deck, and it has to do with beefing up Gilgamesh. So Gilgamesh is on reveal, +1 power for each of your other cards in play with increased power. Basically, this entire deck is designed around that. Sebastian Shaw likes this kind of situation too. So ideally, you're hitting like Chavez into Shaw or Okoye into Shaw before he hits your hand when he's in your deck. If he is actually in your hand, Forge into Shaw, Nakia into Shaw, or Shaw and then Ironheart. Gwenpool affects the deck. Pick a random card in your hand. And the good thing about Gwenpool is by being in your hand, if your hand is limited, you can hit Sebastian Shaw a lot. Drop Shaw on 5 and Gilgamesh on 6. This deck not having a 6-drop means that there is at least 2 turns in which I can play Gilgamesh, and also can do it, working a bit targeted, do it smartly. So here is everything that I basically did in the last 12 hours of show. Lost 9 cubes, 137. The Master Mold Ronin, so this was actually kind of a fun match over here. This was my Trolly Nuts deck. Basically a deck that is designed to troll and sort of do a little bit of control. I had a play 4-cost daily, and this one had a lot of them, so I used it and actually did really well. I had a pretty fat Ronin drop over there. This guy started off with a double Yondu over here in Camertage, and he sniped... I'm trying to remember who he actually sniped. Oh, Iceman and Zabu, which really the deck could do perfectly fine without that. So he didn't hit anything really good. If he had hit something like Ronin or Shang-Chi, that would be a different story. But Zemo pulled over his crappy Wasp, but actually pulled over Angela. And unfortunately, it was in the order of Wasp Angela. If it was Angela Wasp, it would have done better. But double reveal Zemo worked out for me. The random card gave me Spectrum. The random card gave him Colleen Wing. Beefed up Ronin thanks to a double master mold. I actually did double master mold over here, but Polaris pulled him away. So that was good because then it opened up room for double Zemo. The double master mold had already gone off. Maximus pulled 2 extra cards into his hand. I Shang-Chi'd kind of a beefy Thor over here, but I was winning the zone. Anyway, so this was a little bit of an oddity to use this deck, but it did pretty good. Had some concedes in here. Was working on a brand new Arishem deck that I had done, and conceded on this one because it was not going to work out. Arishem decks are very, very interesting. This match over here, the person was definitely set to negate it, which is why I conceded. Had kind of an interesting combo here of Taskmaster Red Skull and Blob, which is good. Blob is part of the deck, but he had a Cassandra Nova, and there is no thing better to combat a Arishem deck than Cassandra Nova. For some particular reason, I have deleted that deck. I'm going to have to actually recreate it. Fortunately, I have this upload here as I can take a look at it and duplicate it based on the deck. So it, the original deck is, okay, I know what I did. I slipped Arishem into my Hip Blob Anonymous deck, which is a reference to Big Daddy when he goes hip hop anonymous. What does he always get the easy ones? That's this deck here. This is where I slotted him in. This deck was originally designed to power up Blob with a lot of heavy powered cards, and then Blob sort of took that nerf where he caps out at 13. But I slipped him in over here. The goal was basically to get Blob out on 5 with Wave, and then Zola a completed Blob to a couple locations, or Zola Red Skull, or get Blob out first, then get Taskmaster. This deck had some good depth in it, but I haven't used it in a while. I just did it for fun with Arishem for a couple matches. But my deck stats for the season, and these numbers are not great because when I play on mobile, the mobile client for the Snap fan website is not working well, so I'm only able to capture the ones that I've done on Steam. Auto Red Hulk was my previous main deck that I used a lot. Again, the goal is to get out a pretty beefy Red Hulk on 5, thanks to bonus energy from Electro. And then Arnim Zola him to a couple locations, Sandman, a little bit of a lockdown, Baron Zemo over there. There's Trolling Nuts, which went 2-0, one of which was actually today. So I think this last updated has to do with the last time you updated the deck, not the last time the client saw it. New discard went 5-0. Gilgo's Dildos went 22-4. 85% win rate over there. Like I said, this deck did really, really well for me most of the season. Move Yourself, that's brand new, just went once. Agent Weenie did okay. Still a positive rating, even though the net cubes were not particularly good. And then that is pretty much it for what I've used over the season. Didn't use any of my old ones like Patriot, Ongoing. I did actually use Phoenix Fuckery a couple times today, so I'm surprised this one does not have any stats. On reveal, Agatha. God, I have not used Agatha all along. in a really, really long time, and I used to be a big Agatha player. You Do It Again, Destroyer, reference to Static X. That one did not do particularly well this season 1 and 2. And Hit Blob Anonymous, that's now Arishem. That's the -2 for today. So pretty much from what I know, I think a lot of discard decks are doing well right now. I've seen a smattering of high evolutionary where I was. I do have a high evolutionary deck. High evolutionary decks tend to like negative costs and negative power for enemy cards. So that's why my Phaistos is in here, to try to lower the cost of cards on my side, which high evolutionary cards like. Gaining the +2 power is a little bit of a bonus. Not bad for Sebastian Shaw. I can see Phaistos and Sebastian Shaw working out. Gwenpool and Sebastian Shaw also, I think, would work out pretty good. But kind of a standard high evolutionary deck there. Haven't used it in a while. Brain Dead She-Not is similar, except it has Leech in there. Haven't used that in a while. Haven't used my Viper Trash deck in a bit. Actually kind of stopped that one pretty quickly. I did not use Havoc much. So yeah, that's how my season went. So I'm going to go ahead and take a pause now, wrapping up the old season, and we will take a look at the season pass when the new one actually comes out. So stay tuned. All right, folks, we are back on Tuesday's content for Marvel Snap. The new season is out. It is the Young Avengers season, or the Kate Bishop season, also known as Hawkeye, Femme Hawkeye. So, Season Pass has Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, as the Season Pass card. She is an interesting card in that she brings several trick arrows into your hand when you play her. If for some reason you were able to duplicate your on reveal, similar to Snow Guard, that works out pretty well on this one, as you're going to get multiple arrows in your hand over here. The arrows are cheap, so this could be good in a low-cost deck, zoo deck, but you'll see what the arrows are like here in just a moment. Acid Arrow, on reveal, switch sides. So this is Goblin on a stick. Could be very good in a disruption deck that has, you know, Scorpion and the Goblins, Iceman, things like that. Professor X, Storm, you know, a real good like lane fuckery deck. Goose in there, Enchantress, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, anywhere that you would use a Goblin. Here's a slightly underpowered Green Goblin, but cheap. Grapple Arrow, on reveal, after you play your next card, move it to this location. So, again, could work on a move deck. I don't know if she's going to create any hybrid decks that are a combination of move, a little bit move, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But remember, you're only getting 2 cards out of this. And it's going to be random. So you might not gain a Grapple Arrow. I feel as if the Acid Arrow can kind of work anywhere, but the Grapple Arrow is very specific in that I think it's good with the spiders. I think it's good with a move deck, you know, set up with Craven or, you know, things like that. So this one's a bit niche, but it's also fairly strong in a 1/3. Basic Arrow, if you play a card here at this location next turn, +3 power. Hawkeye on a stick. So this one's sort of like Iron Fist on a stick in a different way. Instead of pushing, you're pulling. This one over here is not very good in power. However, it powers up pretty well. Telegraphed a little bit, but also good with another, again, double on reveal. Pim Arrow, if your side of this location's full, +3 power. So good for things like Angela and perhaps Elsa and everything like that. I mean, this one's Pim on a stick. This one is Hawkeye on a stick. And then there you go. So you were talking about 1, 2, 3, 4 arrows. I think, honestly, she would be good in just an overall Weenie deck, a zoo type deck. Trying to insert her into a move deck when you have a 1 in 4 chance of getting this card to activate some move cards, I don't think it's that great. I mean, it's cheap and it's strong for being cheap, but I think it's too much of a risk. Whereas these others really can see like a lot of good play in anything. The move arrow is very specific, very niche, and I think it might be tough to try and build around that. So we've got credits, we've got the gold, Kazar boosters for me, credits again. My mystery variant pull is Space Widow. Interesting. I gotta see if I like that better than what I have. We have this cool Scarlet Witch avatar, which I do like. It's sort of, you can tell it's her setting up her spells, but it also sort of looks like she's in front of like a Tony Stark hologram computer. We've got gold. Can't vote. Can save the universe. Credits are full at the moment for me. Gold. And there we go. So. Hawkeye. Oh yeah, actually let's go through the rest of it. So we've got credits again. We have a Scarlet Witch sweating emote. This one's... I missed this when I was doing the stream earlier. This is cute. I like that one. I think it's a good emote for like just barely got that win over there. Scarlet Witch boosters, random boosters, credits, another mystery variant. Was the other one a premium? Yeah, so premium mystery. And I give that one to you early in the past, which is cool. Regular mystery over here. Gold, credits, a Chavez avatar. Credits gold. Bigger Hawkeye fan than you. Seems really good for Kate Bishop and Kamala Khan. I think that's a good title there. It sort of fits their personalities. Credits boosters. This card back, which I think is really cool. It's very, very sharp. I like the lines on it. Good for both Kate and Hawkeye, as they've worn that kind of color before. America Chavez card. America Chavez boosters. So, yeah, clearly it's on brand for the Young Avengers. Mystery variant. Credits. Chavez boosters. Kate boosters. Random boosters. Credits. Kate boosters again. Credits. More Kate Bishop boosters. Credits. Another title old enough to drive the Quinjet. Credits. A Hawkeye avatar, which I really, really like. Mystery variant. This card back, which when I see it small, it makes it look like it's mirrored and wrong. When you see it bigger, I think it looks pretty cool. Really like the texture over here. You sort of get the feeling like this is on somebody's uniform and this is a mesh. And then you have gold, and then you have the Hawkeye variant or the Kate Bishop variant at the end. I think this is an absolutely beautiful variant. I love the sort of synthwave, Miami Nights, retro wave kind of colors going on over there. And definitely do hope I manage to get up to that card, especially after completing last season and getting the Gwenpool one. I think I could definitely insert Kate into this Weenie deck over here. And perhaps I would take out Green Goblin and put Kate in, as I may actually pull the Green Goblin arrow. And, you know, pulling a 1-cost Green Goblin, dropping the cost by 2 and the power only by 1, I honestly think that's what I'm going to do. Because sometimes Green Goblin could be a little bit of a risk. So I think I want to take that out. Add Hawkeye in. The deck gets a little bit cheaper, but I also think it'd be a little bit stronger. and that frees up a 3-drop slot over there to focus more on Black Swan, G, and Sierra over there. So, slight modification to my Weenie deck. If I get Kate out before Bast, and then it's really going to help the arrows. 2 out of the 4 arrows are going to get helped. If I have a grapple one, Bast isn't going to help it, but half the arrows are going to be helped. Basting my grapple arrow won't do anything. And of course, hitting the green goblin arrow would not really be good at all unless somehow it stayed on my side. But yeah, could be a lot of fun. So there is the new Young Avengers season in Marvel Snap. There is if you play the mobile client, a survey went out about the Deadpool diner thing. And, thought was like, hey, what did you think about it? Was it good? Great. You didn't really care. I didn't really play the mode much. I didn't put much stock in it, so I didn't really have an opinion on it. Oh, yeah, the cache. Let's look at the cache before we do. This Ghost Rider variant, I think, is sick. Really reminds me of some gunship art on YouTube. Also, Eddie from Iron Maiden. Kind of a older 80s sort of like animated heavy metal era of stylization and everything. This gives me like a very 80 to 85 feel to it. Also it being slightly blurry and textured as if it's aged. Really, really cool card. I've got some good Ghost Rider variants. I don't know if I'm not paying $30 for that, even though the credits are insane. But if you got some spending cash, this one's pretty good. I like that variant. So we've got Marvel Boy right now in the weekly spotlight. After each turn, give 3 of your 1-cost cards plus 1 power. Great for the Weenie deck. I think I would actually take Kate out and put this... Actually, he'd be good with Kate in because he'd buff the arrows too. That's pretty cool. And then for me, I have Sasquatch, cost 1 less for each card you played last turn. Again, good for a zoo deck. And yeah, that's it. So that is the wrap up of the Gwenpool season and the intro to the Young Avengers season. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys later.